What's good, guys? It's your girl Aisyah, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Sound. It's a series on my YouTube channel where I walk you through the process on how I create my songs. For this episode, I'm gonna show you guys how I wrote and produced my new single, The Way You Make Me Feel, which is out now on all platforms. Link in the description below. Okay, so whenever I start a track, it really depends on my mood. Sometimes I start with the beat, other times I start with the chords, sometimes I start with the melody, but for this particular track, I started with the chords. This is one of those songs that I started a while back, but kind of like left on the back burner for a little bit. Actually, fun fact, this song was derived from a piece I wrote for one of my music composition classes in university back then. I wrote it for a brass quintet, so it consisted of 2 trumpets, a French horn, a trombone, and a tuba. After the piece was performed for a recital at the time, I just left it on my hard drive, didn't really do anything to it. Fast forward to the beginning of 2020 when I was still working and living in Los Angeles, I was creating the track list for my debut EP, Head in the Clouds, and this was one of the tracks I wanted to include. I'd finished a demo at the time, but for some reason I just wasn't vibing with it. I didn't really like it. I thought it wasn't showcasing, my authentic musical sound. I don't like forcing creativity when it comes to my songs, so I decided to take it off of the EP and then just come back to it at a different time with like a fresh perspective. I then revisited the track towards the end of 2020, and then, as you can hear, like completely changed the vibes. I think what helped was changing the beat first. So I switched the beat to like a more chill R&B type of beat. Since I had the chords laid out, I just distributed it to like different synths and different sounds first. Then, once I got this like skeleton down, I started adding some auxiliary percussions and like samples that I've recorded and chopped up and processed, just to fill in between the beat. For me, this gives a little more life to the drum beat and makes it a little less static, And then after that, I chopped up some vocal samples just to add some personality to the beat. I feel like I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I always say this in my videos, but I love incorporating like vocal effects and vocal samples into my beat. Well, I think because, my primary instrument is voice, like I sing. But again, I think they add such a nice personality to the beat. It's like the icing on the cake kind of thing. So this was what I ended up with so far. And then it was just a matter of going back in and adding like little details just to, spruce it up a little bit. So after I had set up the song structure, I thought, okay, how can we make this even more interesting, Because at this point, it's like intro, verse 1, chorus, post-chorus, verse 2, chorus, post-chorus, So to break away from this expectation that I've already established, I decided to add like this breakdown or bridge section at the end. Just to make something super different to what you were hearing prior to that. For this section, I wanted the harmonic elements to play in halftime, but then create this like big, humongous cinematic sound, This is so fun to work on because I got to, incorporate the modern film scoring techniques I've learned over the years when I was working in the film music industry in LA. For those of you who don't know, I got my start in the professional music industry through film scoring. I went to school to study a music degree and had a concentration in film scoring and film music. And so right after I graduated, I moved to LA that same year and then worked in the film music industry first. And then my love and passion for songwriting and song producing came a few years after that when I released my debut single, Memories, which I wrote and produced for my friend James Abrams's short film, Walls. Okay, so back to the song, the breakdown section. Man, I added so many layers to this part. Let's see. I have some orchestral cymbals and orchestral booms. And then I have some really cool sound designy like whooshes, glitches, and some like cinematic percussion. Oh, I also switched out the beat that we've been hearing, you know, that chilled R&B type of beat, to like this really dirty industrial type of like beat and drums. The drums itself were made of 4 layers. We've got the first layer, which is like, you know, the foundation of the beat. And then the second layer does this like, this little For the third layer, I brought those in whenever the second layer had moments of silence, just to fill in between the beat, you know, and like to keep that momentum going and to keep the intensity of the drums. And then the final layer, I just added some drum fills into it just to give the beat some variations as well. Again, I don't like when my beats sound too static. This in a way can make it feel like the beat has some movement, you know. I just think it adds a lot of like drama to it as well because I wanted that cinematic element. And this section is the climax, so it's like go hard or go home, you know. Okay, so once I had all of that down, I wrote my lyrics.
The night is getting pretty late.
After I wrote the lyrics, I went straight to recording my lead vocals and my backing vocals.
Put your phone on airplane mode, cause we may be a while.
I love stacking harmonies and creating really interesting vocal lines.
Yeah.
That's the way you make me feel. That's the way you make me feel.
So after I had all of this down, I listened back and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even have a bass part yet. Huh? But I immediately thought of my friend Aisyah Tiga.
Hey everyone, this is Aisyah.
He is an extremely talented bassist. We've worked together for over a year and a half maybe. And he's also played on most of the tracks on my debut EP. But yeah, I thought that his style would really bring the track to another level.
We can go all night. If I ask, would you let me hit until the morning light? Kind of plans they be looking for us, we be out of sight. Put your phone on airplane mode, cause we may be a while.
Oh, I love what he did for the song. I actually brought Aisyah on during a really hectic time in my life. At the time, you know, I was already packing up like my life to move from Los Angeles back home to Brunei.
Okay, this is the first night of packing. Got my boxes here. It's happening. I'm going home. I'm going home.
So I think my rig was already in boxes at that point, and so he'd be sending me, you know, demos of his bass tracking, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what? So it was super stressful at the time, but I think it also, you know, got me through a stressful time because it's like something to take my mind off of it for a little bit, like the whole packing and stuff, and just seeing creative visions come to life was really cool. But yeah, super stressful at the time. So after everything was done, I called up one of the most talented music engineers I know to mix and master the track.
Hey, this is Sophomore.
Sophomore and I have been collaborating since my second single, Shoulda Said, featuring my big bro Zeke. And he's also mixed and mastered my debut EP. Oh my gosh, I love his work. I love his work. I love the way he mixes my songs, because he brings so much like life and added dimension out of them. Sophomore and I actually got connected through a good friend of ours and mutual friend, Arun. During the time I was looking for someone to mix and master Shoulda Said. Ever since then, like, Sophomore has been my go-to when it comes to mix and mastering, like easy, hands down. So I'm super duper grateful we connected. Shout out to Arun for that. So guys, this is how The Way You Make Me Feel was created. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you think. And let me know too, like, what other stuff you want to see on this channel. I know you guys really dig this, like, you know, production breakdown type of content. But yeah, let me know if you want to see anything else. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new drops, okay? So wherever you guys are in the world, I hope you are safe and well. Till then, take care.
We can